Welcome back to Building Ascot, a medieval town using Minecraft and Conquest Reforged 1.15.2. So far with the story we've heard about the farmer and his influence within the town. To this point it would be easy to dismiss the man as being a horrible person, but today, as we build the farmstead, we are going to learn a little bit more about him and get a greater understanding of where a lot of his motivations stem from. We know that when his father passed away, he split the inheritance between the farmer and his sister, despite the fact that as the firstborn and only son of the household, the farmer was expected at a very young age to help with ploughing the fields, tending horses, harvesting crops, and even lugging barrels at the tavern. He never begrudged his life and held his values close to his church and God. The Paradis religion had taught the farmer that to give is to receive, so he gave his all in tending to his family's farmstead. When his sister chose to move to Castellum to get an education, he did not begrudge her that opportunity, even if he didn't agree with his father's choice in letting her go. When their father fell ill, it was up to the farmer to maintain his affairs and estate. He wrote to his sister for help, and although she would come home and visit their father, she maintained her studies in the city and left the running of the tavern and the farm to him. This did not sit well with the farmer, who had dedicated his entire life to his family and their needs, and now that he needed help, there was none. He turned to his church for guidance, and the priest advised that the farmer's generosity and kindness towards his family would no doubt be rewarded on his father's passing. The reparation for his hard work upon his father's death would be the inheritance of the tavern and farmstead, setting the farmer up to be able to provide for a family of his own. The priest told the farmer to find a wife and refocus his attentions away from the hurt, and so he did. The farmer fell in love at a young age and married a local girl who he is still wedded to this day. She has blessed him with 3 daughters, but unfortunately no sons to help him work the fields as his father had when he was a younger man. He fondly remembers their courtship and how they used to steal kisses in the wheat fields, much like a young man had seemed to be doing lately. With this newfound love, his resentment towards his sister's selfishness dissipated. The priest was right. Although both businesses were profitable, the tavern occasionally had to prop up the farmstead. His father had always advised him that food should not be priced out of the people in need's reach. This also lined up with his own religious beliefs, so the farmer maintained a lower profit margin for the farm, ensuring the town did not suffer from hunger due to greed. And with his father's medical costs and sister's tuition fees, their estate was not as profitable as it had once been. The farmer was forced to work even more without anyone to help until his daughters grew older. The farmer noticed a distance growing between himself and his wife, who he loved dearly, due to the amount of work that was required to maintain both businesses. Again, he turned to his priest for solace and advice. The priest advised him to hire a farmhand, and so the farmer did. Things were running smoothly for the farmer for a time, until his father finally passed away. Although financially the extra burden being lifted would help, the farmer loved his father and would miss him dearly. Then he discovered that despite all he had given for his family, he had been spurned. The more profitable tavern was given to his sister, who didn't even have the decency to come home when their father fell ill. Although angered by this slight, the farmer was still thankful for his beautiful family, and although silver was tight for them, he praised Paradis for what the god had given him. The farmhand he had hired started off as a great addition to the business, and the farmer at one point felt the boy could be a match for one of his daughters when they come of age. Unfortunately, the farmhand's helpfulness did not last, as he started neglecting his jobs and being absent more than was acceptable. The farmer had also noticed some silver was going missing from his household at a time when he could least afford it. When he confronted the young man about the missing silver, he broke down and confessed having taken it for love. The farmhand had fallen in love with the local courtesan, an asp of a woman who was an expert at coercing silver out of the impressionable people that passed through Ascot. She rented a house from the farmer, and he used to turn a blind eye to her dealings, as she always focused her attentions on travellers. This time she had coerced this young man into stealing from him. The courtesan had quite literally been paying her rent with the farmer's own stolen silver. When reported to the authorities, the young man was driven out of town, but the courtesan avoided punishment, as she was not the one to have actually stolen the silver, and professed she had no idea the young man was stealing to pay for her services. The farmer was frustrated and did not know why the local magistrate did not remove her from the town. This time, when he'd approached the priest for more advice, the priest had seemed distracted and not at all interested in helping the farmer, despite him being a pious man that follows the teachings of Paradis. All the priest seemed interested in recently were those damnable ruins near the lake. The farmer to this day still does not believe the courtesan and wants to get his money back from her in any way possible. He has told people he wants the land for farming, but his motives for raising her rent and neglecting the maintenance of the homestead she keeps have come from a deeply rooted loathing of the woman, as her manipulative behaviour not only cost him a good farmhand, but literally took food off of his family's table. Okay, here we are back in Ascot. I hope you guys are enjoying the story of the place. There's still more fun things to come with Ascot and where it's heading. I've got a few cool ideas and hopefully an ending that you guys will really like. So here we are in the new stuff. I did do a lot of building off camera with this particular build, mainly because there was a lot of detail work that wasn't sort of relevant to the farmer's story. We've definitely done quite a bit of stuff there. You can see we've got the horsey just here. This is a no AI horse. You can bring these in with command blocks with no AI. We've decorated the lake here with some cray pots on the side and a few little buckets and things like where people might be doing some yabbying. We've put a little tree just in here. Just in this little swampy area here, we've got a nice little tree growing out of that sort of space using the Conquest branches. As we head up here, we've got two of the houses. Now these are just two regular houses of people that live in the town. There's nothing too grand or special about them. They're very similar to the other houses that we've built. These will be people that either work at the tavern, on the farm, or potentially up in the stables area up there. They're just the regular townies essentially. As we come over this way, you can see the farmland that we've put into this space. We've got a couple of different crops that the farmer actually plants and propagates. But over here we've got the farmland, the new farmland that's actually been put in this space. I think it looks really good up on this hill. And if we come down around this way too, we can see there's another farmland patch just behind it. If we shoot over to this side of Ascot, we've also got farmland out on this side that the farmer owns as well. So he does have a few spaces for his crops. And he's got one crop here it's just started to be harvested. The actual farmstead itself is a little bit larger than the other houses, about the same size as the stable owner's house. It is a nicer house to live in, to the point where the farmer and his wife actually have their own room, which is very rare to get that sort of privacy. You can see they have their own bedroom here. We've got the Victory Mod bedhead just here, which looks fantastic, and the loan book from Victory Mod just there as well. But I love the little details that we can do with Conquest Reforged and Victory Mod. It just makes things look really good. In here we've got the three daughters' bed. They're all just sort of sleeping in the same spot. But we've got a family tapestry up on the wall here, so this will be a family heirloom that gets passed down that the farmer has got hanging on his walls. And a little kitchenette here as well. Just a nice little home for the farmer and his family. As we come out here, we can see where the work sort of gets done. So it's up here that the threshing and the winnowing of the wheat would occur to remove the chaff and the stems. And we've got a little silo for the grain just here. It's not a massive one, it was pretty small. They would get a little ladder and they'll pour it into the top there, and I've got a little hatch there that they open up to get it out of the bottom. Here we can see we've got the tools for actually threshing the wheat just here against this table to try and separate it. And the winnowing they might do off the side of the cliff, or potentially, depending on how windy it is, they might even just do it just here. Pretty much they would use the wind to separate those two. I'm really happy with the details that have come out of this space. The farmstead itself looks a little bit unique and different from the other buildings, but it definitely fits in with the overall theme of Ascot. Alright guys, that's the end of the video. Hope you guys have enjoyed this episode of Building Ascot. We've learnt a little bit more about the farmer and his motives, and maybe he's not such a bad guy, and that there's always two sides to a story. You might hear one side of a tale, but that doesn't mean it's the whole truth, and today we've heard the other side of the tale, and that's not necessarily the whole truth either. Moving forward, we're going to be working on the church next. That'll be up here. There'll be church and a magistrate's house just up on this little hill here, so there'll be two separate buildings up in this space. The last building we'll be building the ruins. So if you guys are enjoying this sort of series, please drop a like on this video. It helps for the exposure for the channel. Other than that, look forward to making another video for you guys. We'll catch you next time.